Okay, good evening, everybody. I will call to order this capital budget hearing, presented to you by the Jericho Select Board. And Paula's going to go over our capital budget. And then for those of you that are here for the Select Board meeting, the Select Board meeting will start at 6:30. So if this only takes a few minutes, we will shut the Zoom off and we'll resume here at 6:30 p.m. for the regular Select Board meeting. This is the capital hearing. Welcome, everybody.
All set?
Yeah.
Okay. So what you're looking at here is the capital budget for FY27. At the top of this is the project costs. So this is what's going to be projected for FY27 for costs. The first one you'll see is wastewater, and that 35,000 is allotted through the general operating expense, which we have on the general operating budget line 274. The next one, road improvements and upgrades, the 295, that comes from the general operating budget, line 167. And then, yep.
Quick overview question for myself.
Yeah,
just
yeah.
so I'm thinking about it properly.
Yep.
At the bottom of that column that you're in.
Yes.
1.4 million.
Yep.
1.4, am I correct that $1.4 million of the budget that we voted to put in front of the voters, 1.4 million of that is in that budget?
Right. And then this is the sources of funding. This is where the money will come from. Yep.
So it's not all it's all in the budget, but
Yeah.
it's not all necessarily tax money.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. The class 2 paving, that is a grant. So that is an 80/20 grant, which you'll see down below is here. The class 2 paving grants is 200. It's usually like, so say it'll be 220. The grant gets paid 200. Better back roads is the same thing. We look for 25. The grant could come in at 20. It all depends. Let's see. Further down, we have the vehicle equipment, and this is the loan that we'll be getting for the new trucks, which is 245. You'll see down below, it has right here the loans, which 245 will be taken out in a loan. If you look down further, I can continue. I'm kind of jumping, but if you look down, so the 200,000 class 2 paving grant, that'll be the grant match. Same with better back roads. Sidewalk grants, that is the Lee River Road sidewalk. We're hoping that this sidewalk will be in construction this coming year. That's uncertain, but this is the total for the grant. So let's see. And the MMU path. The MMU path, we're not in construction yet. This is going to be, it'll be like smaller bills coming through for the process to get to the construction phase. So that we're only budgeting 100,000 of the total for the sidewalks. Is there any questions that you guys have?
I have questions about the sources of funding.
Yeah.
Just for my own understanding.
Yep.
So like if I'm looking down that yeah, right there.
Yep.
That $200,000. So
Yep.
And I think that lines up with class 2 paving. So
Yep.
it's over here.
Yep.
So what is that like? Where is that money coming from?
It'll come from a grant. We have the class 2 paving grant. So it's an 80/20 split.
Right.
So if we say we're doing a paving grant and you can combine the 295 with the 200,000, right? Like say they want to pave 1 mile of Brown's Trace Road and it comes to 500 and some odd thousand.
Yeah.
We're going to use the 295 plus the 200 and the match.
And the 295 is taxpayer.
That's coming out of the
That's taxpayer
general
money.
operating. Yep.
200,000.
Yep.
That's all of that is a grant? Or that's,
Everything below that line is sources of funding.
yeah, I'm trying to figure out where that $200,000 comes from.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, so that'll be, we apply for, like I said, a class 2 paving grant. If we get it,
Yeah.
then they split the costs.
That's interesting. So that's not a guaranteed 200,000.
Correct.
That's how we could possibly apply
Mhm,
for it, maybe
mhm,
get, and we're on the hook if it doesn't.
Well, we won't necessarily, if we don't get it, we won't do all of the work. Yeah, yeah.
And so the 200,000, are we responsible for 20% of that? Or is that our 20%? Or is that the 80%?
That 200,000, I believe, is the total, which it could be.
What we agreed to during the budget season was any match from that comes
Yep.
out of that 295.
Exactly.
That's what it is.
Yep.
Out of that
Yep.
295, that's a budget item.
Yep.
That's a highway improvement.
Yep.
And so if part of that is a match for a $200,000 grant,
Then
that.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep,
Gotcha.
yep,
Catherine has her hand.
yep. Catherine, go ahead.
It's a picky thing. Under buildings and property, we had the big, bond for the garage. In past capital budgets, we always put in the debt as well, because these are debts for building that typically, like the town hall or now the garage, because they last multiple years. In the past, those have also been considered capital expenses, and when you put in the, and for 27, you'd put in the annual cost of that.
Mhm. Yep,
So
that's true. I will look into that.
yeah, because it's not there, and it is a capital expense, obviously. Okay.
Is that what you're saying, Catherine, that the repayment of the loan of the bond for the loan for the garage?
Yeah.
Is not
Well,
on here?
Right.
Isn't it? Am I correct that the top line where it says new maintenance facility, 4.6 million, that's the cost of the building?
Right.
And then down below, under sources of funding, it says bond proceeds, so that's the loan.
But that
Right.
was, yeah,
And that
Then
happened in 20,
transfer- then
Yeah.
what's
Right.
that transfer from building improvement fund, is that?
but that
Right.
was in 2026. Now, starting in 2027,
Oh, sorry.
Yes,
Oh,
it
we
should
have to
be-
make annual
should-
debt payments.
Yep.
Both, we still have to finish the so we
Yeah.
have to,
Bond payment is not on.
Correct. That's what she's saying. Yep,
it is accounted for in the budget.
yes, yep.
it is in the budget, but you should put it in the capital because it is a capital expense, because these are long-term expenses. But we
Right.
still have not finished the town hall, and then now we have the garage as part of it as well.
Yep,
So Catherine, so on the project, I don't know if it's project cost or sources of funding, it should say, am I correct that we have every year here going out to 2032? It should say every year in the column, it should say like $310,000 or
Mhm. Yep,
$380,000,
yep,
just going
Yep,
across.
yep,
right?
exactly.
To show money we've already promised to
Right,
spend in
right.
the future.
Yep.
Right. And that is an operating, it's an operating money from the operation budget,
Thank you.
Okay. That is it?
questions?
Well, I do have a question. I don't know what the ongoing, oh, I see, the Riverside sidewalk, there is no budget for it because it's done.
It's done. Yep,
Gotcha. And we're not paying anything back?
correct. We've already taken care of that.
Do I have a motion to adjourn the capital budget portion of the meeting? We will resume the select board meeting at 6:30 if someone does make such a motion.
I make a motion to close the capital budget portion of the meeting at 6:10 PM.
I'll second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We'll resume a regularly scheduled select board meeting at 6:30 PM in 20 minutes.
Take it away.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the, I'd like to open the January 15th edition of the Jericho Select Board meeting. It's 6:30 PM. I'm going to start by an update to the agenda. We found a minor error that is worth correcting for the Clean Water State Revolving Loan for wastewater continuation. That is going to be moved to the February budget because there's just some information on there that isn't quite correct, that is worth correcting before we do that. And was there another update? I don't think there was.
No,
Not the agenda.
nope.
Okay. We don't even have my little spiel here. Let me go back and sort of hijack that. In order to make our meetings more efficient, we're limiting public comment at the beginning of the meeting, the public to be heard section. The select board meetings are in the public, not of the public. There will occasionally be agenda items where we will ask for public comment. Tonight, we will look for comment on the two warning articles that are that we're going to talk about. All the rest of them, anything else if you want to discuss or have comments about it, we can use the public to be heard section. Please don't use the Zoom chat for anything other than technical issues because it can be very distracting. And as always, please be respectful. With that, we'll move into public to be heard. Is there any public to be heard about anything other than those articles that I mentioned that we'll talk about later for public comment?
I don't have anybody online.
Okay. First thing on the agenda is update on the Browns River MMU path.
Take it away, Israel.
Israel, I need to play hockey with you.
Other Israel.
Is there two?
There's two in Vermont. In Maine, that's crazy. Yeah.
I think I'm all set. Okay, perfect.
Yes, we're here just to give you an update on the Browns Trace pedestrian path and bridge and discuss a couple of options for the alignment. You know, we've got the survey, we've got some of the we've got wetland delineation and archaeological resource assessments done. So now we're trying to really hone in on where we want that path to go. So this first slide here is just a picture of the area. This is from the feasibility study, which was done in 2011. So there's now a path up until Ethan Allen Drive. So we have, this is looking north up Browns Trace, to the left is Lee River Road, and then Ethan Allen. So the new path is starting after Ethan Allen Drive, or the new proposed path, and will extend across Lee River and then connect to the existing path at MMU. So the purpose of this presentation, just to quickly go over the background. I know there's some new select board members since this was originally conceived. Any public that hasn't been following or new residents, we'll go over the background information, talk quickly about those alternatives, and then any discussion on that. So the project area, as noted, is Lee River Road and Ethan Allen, north to MMU path right here. So it's this area that we're discussing overly. Previous work completed on this. So this whole project stemming from a feasibility study that was developed or finished in July of 2011. That feasibility study was for the connection from MMU to Jericho Center. They had broken the project into a couple of segments. The southern segment was constructed in 2020. In 2024, the town received a transportation alternatives grant for this construction of the path we're here to talk about today. And then in 2025, the town selected Stantec for the design of the northern section, and that's why I'm here. One thing we also wanted to talk about is there's the potential to reuse the bridge that used to be over Route 15. I'm sorry for the photos. This kind of came in late. So when we got the photos, it was kind of snowy. But one thing we are considering is the potential to reuse that bridge if possible.
That's the one at the highway department.
Sure.
When we looked into considering using that for a few minutes, while they worked on the bridge over Mills Riverside Park, I thought what we discovered in that moving it would cost so much money that it may not be worth it. Have you evaluated how much it might cost to move it?
We haven't gotten into those details yet. One
Okay.
thing that was considered is because it is a concrete deck bridge, the abutments are still attached, which makes it enormously heavy. Would actually be, this bridge is significantly longer than a couple of the alternatives we would need, so it would be cutting it down in place, potentially removing the deck, and then segmenting the deck, and then taking it steel beams,
Seems a little easier.
then deck segments is the way I would envision it, if possible. And we still need to get some structural engineers out there to determine whether any of this is feasible.
Where was that bridge last used?
Down here at the
Okay.
old Red Mill.
At the mill.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. And where is it right now? Now it's
At the highway department, yep.
Still structurally sound?
Well.
It's something that would need to be evaluated. We're
Yeah,
assuming the steel, I mean, from these pictures, it looks like the steel is still in decent condition. A lot of times we'll run into things where the old steel may have lead paint, and then, you know, it has to get stripped and repainted, which can get expensive. And as noted, you know, moving it might get expensive. This rail, it looks like it's all there and in good shape, but, you know, we had to replace segments of rail. Sometimes custom rail gets really expensive too. So it may kind of turn out that it's not possible as we get into it, but we wanted to definitely leave it open as a potential money savings.
Absolutely, reuse where you can, right?
How could it cost a lot of money to move it if we've already moved it to town garage?
I don't
We
know.
didn't write that check, I don't know.
Yeah, I can't remember how, but yeah, Livy did some research and it was pretty expensive.
Yeah, because you'll have to have a crane here to
Yes.
put it on a trailer,
Mhm.
and then move the crane to the site. You're gonna reset it with the crane. So I'm guessing is when it was pulled
I can
off.
put it in my bowl,
Yeah, I'm sure when they took it off Route 15, the crane had to be there for that
Yeah,
bridge project.
Yeah.
And then
yep,
I don't know how they got it off.
yep.
It's dumb.
Right?
But something we're considering, and I think this is in good shape and possible to move it. It could be a significant savings. New prefab bridges, prices are running pretty high.
It would be cool.
Mm.
So we wanted to get in real quick into these alternatives. So the first option we have to get there is, so now we're oriented a little different than the photo, but so Ethan Allen Road here, MMU on the right. But this first one is just a straightforward, keep it close to the road with a small green strip and run the path close to the road. The advantage to that, high visibility, a little ease of maintenance because you are closer to the road. A couple of disadvantages is if this road's salted, you can get salt spray from the road onto your new bridge, which advances deterioration. And the other disadvantage to this alignment is it does require a significantly longer span because we're going to need to deal with the existing roadway bridge wing walls. So we would need to be outside those wing walls. So this ends up with an approximately 90-foot span in this configuration. The blue you see in this graphic are environmental features. So you see these OHWs are the ordinary high water lines on the river. This is wetland down here, wetland buffer line here. So we are impacting some wetland buffer, but not a massive impact there. And then these are identified as small stream channels. So they were wet on the day of delineation. So we'll minimize that or at least account for that water.
And why does it have to be longer if it's there?
Just because, so the existing bridge
Yep.
has their abutments, and then outside the abutments, they have wing walls that are just retaining earth. And so we need to be further out than those wing walls because we're going over the top of them essentially.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So that's option one. Option two is kind of coming out under the power lines and minimizing that span by getting more perpendicular to the stream, so less skew, reduces that span, and then kind of coming through, staying a farther distance off the road, and then connecting to the MMU path up here. So advantages to that is you're further from the road. So in the future, if that bridge ever had to be replaced, this bridge is out of the way. Another advantage to that is that reduced span. A couple of concerns we had with this configuration are because you're 50 feet-ish from the road, 20 years from now, vegetation's growing up, you start to feel a little less secure. You're kind of, most of the path up to Jericho Center is right adjacent to the road. And then you have a segment that's kind of down through the woods across the bridge. And there are some components of people that would feel unsafe in that scenario. Bridges are a natural choke point, plus low visibility, plus no structures around, could make security a bit of a concern here. So,
What about lighting? When we talk about this, or is it just the path?
just the path. I mean, lighting could be a potential mitigating factor if as long as we could keep that I guess vegetation knocked down enough. And part of this is through the aerial utility area. So they're keeping a lot of vegetation down. So there could be the potential for more of that. And then we have option three, which is kind of a hybrid of both of them, where we're not over the existing wing walls, so we can reduce that span a bit. We're keeping as close to the road as we can without going over those existing wing walls. And that results in approximately 60-foot span, so about 10 feet longer than the last span, but still 30 feet shorter than option one. So I think the benefits to this one are much like option one, where we're staying fairly close to the road. I don't see there being a lot of issue with maintaining the vegetation in this area. Pulled it up on Street View, and there's not much vegetation there. It's kind of low brushy stuff. So
How far is that from where that bottom of that bend is to the road, you think? Is that like?
That's a little over 30 feet, so
Okay.
just under 40 feet. So yeah, and it could be graded so that would be relatively easy to maintain with the mowing equipment that the town already has. And we don't want a situation where it's really steep and they have to come in with chainsaws every few years and cut stuff.
I'm guessing the town will get a lot of buy-in on keeping that vegetation cut down. Would be a guess that I would have.
Sure. So those are the three alternatives we're looking at. We did develop this decision matrix to kind of help make this decision. So first point of the matrix is the wetland and buffer impact. So options 1 and 3 are very minor. As you saw, we kind of hit the edges of the buffer, but didn't really get into the wetland. Option 2, we were a small amount of direct input on the. Whoops. Point 2 is the visibility from Brown's Trace. Option 1 is the best. Option 2 is the worst, and then option 3 was in the middle. And the points I brought up about visibility and security are in that point. Impacts during construction, and this is more on the traffic. Option 1 would be high, because in order to set that bridge, they would essentially need to put the crane in the road to set that bridge in that location. Options 2 and 3 are medium. They would be temporary lane closures, but there's a lot more space there to work and set a crane pad off the road. There would probably be a short closure the day they were setting that bridge, but generally less impact to construction. The possibility to reuse the old Route 15 bridge, as noted, not going to be possible in option 1 because the span is too long. And then option 2 and 3, both a possibility, pending further analysis. And then the impact on future bridge work. So this is one that, eventually someday they're going to need to replace that bridge on Brown's Trace. And if we have option 1 where we have a pedestrian bridge 10 feet away from it, it makes it a lot more difficult to take that old bridge down, replace all the substructure, and construct a new bridge. Option 2, it would be low because we're 50-ish feet away from that bridge. And then we're saying option 3 is medium because we're getting a little bit closer, but generally in in a space where it wouldn't be a huge concern. They would need to close the path during construction of a new highway bridge, but. It's definitely money.
How much was the grant we got in 2024 for?
I don't recall either, no.
I do have that, the grant amount is $600,000, and then that requires a match on top of that, so. We'd have to kick in 150,000, so it's for a total of 750.
Yeah, and these,
In the application, we estimated this project to be 629,062.50, so it's. If there's reuse option, we're in the ballpark of, I don't think that's bad.
just a caveat, these anticipated bridge costs, these are all based on numbers that are pretty high because we don't have a lot of detail yet. I anticipated worst case scenario for foundations where we're doing deep drilled shafts because we don't have any geotech work. We could come in and find out that these are all just, you know, there's ledge fairly shallow and we're just doing shallow abutments and this cost comes down dramatically. So I don't put a lot of weight in these numbers at this point. We just want to show them for like relative savings between each option. Yeah. So yeah, as you can see, our costs with reuse, we're showing quite significant savings, about $250 for reusing that old bridge, just because the cost of those prefab bridges gotten pretty high. I think several years ago when they were doing the Mill Valley Rail Trail, of course, they were doing multiple bridges. They were getting costs of $200 to $300 per square foot for the bridges, and some of the more recent ones we've seen are up around $500 and $600 per square foot for those bridges. So that cost is increasing pretty quickly. So that's, yes, what I have. Next steps on this project. Hopefully tonight we can come to an agreement on an alternative. After that, we'll develop the 25% plans based on that alternative. At that point, we'll develop a detailed cost estimate, and we'll have a lot better idea of where we actually are cost wise. That will allow us to go into the NEPA clearance, and then after NEPA clearance, we can do the right of way phase. This one should be fairly easy because I think we've got one property owner impact, which is MMU. So hopefully we can get right of way cleared pretty quickly. At that time, if it looks like we're going to be much more expensive than the grant, then we would go and apply for additional funding, which is allowed under both transportation alternatives and bike ped grants through the states. And projects that are through right of way phase typically have a high level of success at getting those additional funding grants. So
That's cool. That's good to know.
What is NEPA?
oh, sorry, that's National Environmental Protection Act. So all projects with federal aid money have to go through and clear certain points in NEPA. So it's looking at, for us, we'll be into like a categorical exclusion. So we're going to be more looking at harming and impacting and the U4F resources, which are historic archaeological. We're doing 6F resources, which are recreational and things like that. They'll look into, and those are evaluated at the state level. The state has an agreement with FHWA to allow them to be evaluated by VTrans. So.
Can you go back to option 3 just for a second? How come it jogs out and then comes back in rather than just going more or less straight across the river, more or less parallel to the road?
Because it's trying to shorten the bridge length.
Yeah,
right?
so
He's trying to hit the river perpendicularly.
yeah, you can see the river.
Yeah, what it is.
Yeah, so if we went straight across, we're skewing across the river, which increases the span required for the bridge.
But if our bridge is longer than we need.
It's so the bridge, what was that one, Linda? It's like
67.
67. So we're showing 60 in anticipation that we would be cutting a couple
Cutting
of feet off because the existing abutments are connected to it and
Yeah.
we wouldn't want
We need to
those.
get-
We'll have to get.
Okay. And then my other question, down with the timetable is if we approve this tonight, we're like, yep, great, we want option, whatever. When is construction happening? And I know you're guessing, and it's not a real number, but just like, are we talking about 4 months, 6 months, a year and a half?
Yeah, so you typically with these projects, 18 months is really fast.
Yeah.
4 years is about average, and that's
4 years from when.
from when we start like your grant award and we get a design engineer on board.
So what's this, when you say those numbers, what's your starting point? Is that a year ago?
No, like, so survey was completed 6 months ago,
Okay.
3 months ago. So yeah, we're probably about 18 months out. Like I would expect maybe a 2028 construction year. Hopefully we can get that done faster. A lot depends on NEPA review. So there's a few people reviewing NEPA for every project in the entire state. So they get a huge backlog, and that process can sometimes take 8 months where we're just waiting for that clearance. There are some things we can do concurrently, but we can't advance too far until we get their approval to keep going. And then the right-of-way process can also, depending on the willingness of the property owners, take a significant amount of time.
We may be able to skip the whole NEPA step, bulk environmental, who, it's just ignores the federal government. So.
I think we'll of course. Yeah.
So yeah, we would likely be looking at it at 2028 construction year.
Catherine, you don't need to raise your hand. I'm aboard.
Well, I'm so used to doing it for the RPC with the with our Zoom, so that's how you do that. No, so this avoids the archaeological, because at one point they talked about a foundation of a blacksmith shop in the area.
Yeah, so our archaeological consultant did go out and do a archaeological resource assessment. What they found was an old stone retaining wall in this area. And what it does not, according to their research, is not a foundation. What it looks like is it was probably a previous abutment to an original bridge that was there. That they kind of did not take out when they built the new bridge and just left it in as like a extended wing wall. So we still are trying to keep it just because it might be a kind of a cool feature to see as you're walking on this path, but it's not something we need to maintain as part of the archaeological clearance.
Cool.
What is the square thing on the left in the middle? Yeah.
Right there, that is it's like a transformer or something for the electric company. I'm not sure exactly, but it's some kind of electric infrastructure.
And this property is like who owns most of this? MMU?
Yeah, MMU owns all of this, and then the utility company has aerial utility easements through it, but we would definitely be working with them to make sure we're not compromising their ability to maintain those lines.
So number 3 kind of seems like a Goldilocks. Is there anything we're missing?
No, that's actually one of the things I was going to mention is that was the designs team's recommended alternative is option 3. As long as you feel strongly that they want it closer to the road for the additional security.
We're not wimps. We don't care who. And we have no bad actors around where people would be nervous about them. We're Jericho, yeah. I like option 3. Is the board ready to make a motion or anything like that to approve option 3? Do you want more time? You're welcome to ask for more time.
I was a little bit curious about, so the difference between option 2 and option 3 is just that option 2 is a little more hidden and back in the woods.
Yes.
And that was presented because some towns might like that and might want a little more wooded area, remote. That's something we want to, so you put that in there as a possibility.
Yes.
The other issue with option 2, Peter, is the fact that it's a direct impact of wetlands.
Yeah.
And so,
Yes.
I mean, option 3 has the least negative. It's sort of, as you said, in the middle of everything. Plus, a lot of people think it'd be cool if we can reuse the bridge from the old red mill.
Yeah, I think so too.
Good.
So I think option 3 is what I would go with. That's what I plan to vote on.
I'm going to make a motion to approve option 3 for the Browns Trace MMU path. Can you move forward?
I'll second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Option 3 it is, sir. Thanks for your presentation. Thanks for your work.
Thank you.
When will we hear from you next? Like, what's the next thing that we have to be thinking about?
Oh, sorry. So once we get through that NEPA and we get the NEPA approval, we'll be back again for a public information meeting to present the conceptual plan. So we'll talk to the public about where we're at, what the price is, anything they found during NEPA that we need to adjust the design for. So that will be that discussion.
And then we'll have that meeting and hash out whatever, and then we'll be like, great, we're done. And you guys will get the construction process started whenever that fits.
Yep. Then we'll work through the right-of-way process. Once right-of-way is complete, we'll work through the bid documents and contracting process and get that out to bid for you.
Great. My kid graduates in 29. It'd be nice to have that done before.
Graduation, lots of-
I got another one, but
Dad made this
2
big.
years later, so she'll probably at least get it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is overview of Vermont League of Cities and Towns PACIF, with our property and casualty insurance.
Hi, how you doing?
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you for your audience this evening. My name is Xander Jensen. I'm with the Vermont League of Cities and Towns. I'm one of 3 loss control consultants with the insurance wing of the league, known as PACIF, PACIF. We insure all but I think 6 now, cities and towns and other municipal entities in the state of Vermont. So we're a bit of a household name. I understand there may be a few new select persons, so welcome, congratulations. Just as a brief overview to fill you in case you're not already familiar, we work for you. We're member owned, and with the towns and the cities and the solid waste districts and utility districts that I work with, I hope that I'm seen as sort of that entity's de facto risk and safety. So one less person to worry about VEMR's right benefits. I come as a package deal with your insurance coverage. My territory is the northwestern part of the state. My colleague Larry Smith is in the Northeast Kingdom, and Wade Messer has been in the south, in the skinny bit of the state for 20 years. I'm coming up, or have just completed my 2-year anniversary with the league, and so now I think it's a pretty good time to start pounding pavement a little bit more and engaging with select boards directly. Although I have in the past, I think at this juncture, having sort of been around twice, making my rotation at more or less every municipality and entity that's public in northwestern Vermont that have membership with us. A reminder that every dollar that you invest in safety spits out $3 to $4 worth of value on the other side of it. That's about as fundamental in risk control and safety management as gravity, right? It's something that is a little hard to see because it doesn't live neatly on year-to-year spreadsheets. But I think that's part of the benefit of having us baked into the deal, is that we're able to help steer funds and advise you on safety investments or projects or whatever the case may be. The other large component, and I think it's becoming more and more common to think about, is VOSHA compliance. Let's just say Vermont OSHA. If you're not already aware, Vermont is fairly unique in the sense that its public entities, such as municipal assets, are subject to OSHA vis-a-vis VOSHA regulation. And so a town like Jericho has to play by the same rules as Lowe's, or Home Depot, or any other big industrial company here in Vermont. So with that said, that's also part of the deal, is with my background working in big industry before I came to the municipal realm, I was the safety advisor for a company called Menards, the 3rd largest home improvement retailer. I named its 2 competitors, by the way. I was in charge of auditing OSHA-centric safety across a 45 plant territory in 11 states and in 11 different manufacturing divisions. Suffice to say, my experience is diverse when it comes to OSHA regulations and compliance. I'd like to think I've seen it all, or most of it. I would encourage the town of Jericho to take full advantage of that service that's baked into your insurance coverage with us. Don't take my word for it. Many of your neighbors have been subject to OSHA inspections, especially this past summer. Anecdotally, our team agrees that OSHA has become more and more aggressive in the last 2 years than in several years prior. There are towns that can't remember the last time OSHA came through, and all of a sudden they just appeared this past summer. Fortunately, especially in the Northwest, we were able to prepare a lot of towns for that inevitability and mitigate a substantial amount of potential losses and fines. But that's just the boogeyman. The big picture is that every OSHA regulation is backed by science. There's a reason it's there. It's not arbitrary. It's not capricious, right? And so by meeting baseline compliance with OSHA, we also strive to provide a safer workplace for our employees, but also, generally speaking, for the members of the public, right? Which don't fall under OSHA, but from a general liability perspective, it's a win-win. I have a list of services, brief list. I'll turn to my notes to summarize. And these are free services that we provide. The first is a safety survey walk around of facilities. I have conducted one in the last 2 years here in Jericho at the town office and the town garage. And really the big thing there is to mitigate workers' compensation, property casualty, general liability, and other forms of loss in the municipality. If you win in Jericho, then everybody wins in the Vermont League system, right? If Essex wins, then you guys win. That's how it works. We also provide guidance on diverse compliance requirements, including OSHA 1910, 1926, NFPA, state codes, etc. Another big part of what we do, we provide trainings, safety-related trainings. Flagger certification is a big one that I train on. Any municipal employee, DPW, fire, rescue, police. I've even trained town clerks to be flaggers to help out with the town parade, whatever the case may be. Smallest class I've ever held was 2 people, because it's worth it. I was up on the Canadian border, went up, trained 2 people. The largest class, I think it was Huntington Fire Department, they're due. That was like 25 people. So really, sky's the limit. The next is Public Works Supervisor Series training. We've expanded this training series for this year. This is going to be probably held quarterly in 2026. These are half-day trainings for supervisor level employees, typically in DPW operations, such as 4 persons or superintendents, depending on the size of the municipality. And that's a diverse set of lectures and hands-on labs, such as lockout, tagout, or trenching safety. OSHA-centric training, such as bloodborne pathogen awareness, hazard communication, trenching, lockout, tagout. We also do ergonomic assessments. If I told you that ergonomic-related injuries, or that 1/3 of the pie chart in workers' compensation laws is somehow related to ergonomics, would you believe it? It's true. I mean, it's incredible to think that we're all spending 2,000 hours if you're working a full-time job in an office setting, sitting in the same chair. Would you be sitting in that same chair if you were on a 2,000-hour car ride across an endless country? Probably not, right? Do you feel as comfortable as you do in your office chair as you do in your bus seat? Probably not. Imagine all the heavy lifting that goes on in DPW operations. Are they using team lift? Are they shorthanded? Does equipment exist to engineer out, right, the hands-on component of ergonomics training? those kinds of assessments are baked into our, your membership with us with VLCT PACIF. Capital improvement advisement. Helping design safety and compliance into the blueprints from cradle to grave, so to speak, from the start to the end of the project. I partnered with a number of towns on projects. Most recently, North Hero, they'll be building a new town fire station garage. Be helping them every step of the way. Berkshire is another example. I heard that you've recently completed a new town garage. Congratulations. Sorry, I wasn't part of that process. Would love though to see the new town garage and advise retroactively in a shakedown cruise, if possible, to give them the opportunity to do so. Make sure we've dotted the i's and crossed the t's on your behalf. In addition to that, I work with towns all across the Northwest in safety committees, both setting them up and building sustainable safety committees that can be productive and constructive. And also for municipalities with committees, I'm either sitting on them quarterly as a regular member or invited as needs come up. And last but not least, this is sort of the heaven forbid piece of it. Claims or special situation in-person advisement. When there's a situation that needs special attention or special discretion, that's a service that we provide in person to be able to walk you through and provide best practice guidance on how to mitigate and navigate that loss. I think the good news, the silver lining, the very positive in all this here in Jericho is that your numbers have been solid for a long time. Your X mods are solid.
What's X mods?
An experience modifier is a fancy way of saying, what does your golf score look like? Everything below 1 is better than average. Everything above 1 is worse than average. Jericho, we're under par, so that's good.
Does that directly affect our rate?
It absolutely does.
Our rate,
just
ours,
ours?
rate.
Your rates.
Okay, cool.
The X mod is sort of a way to calculate through a proprietary algorithm what the relative risk is. So hypothetically, if there was, heaven forbid, a serious injury, your workers' compensation X mod would go up and then slowly sort of
Come back.
teeter off and come back to normal over the course of a couple of years. Same with property casualty. As you can imagine, with all the flooding and the catastrophic claims, that's really done on a number of municipalities in the greater Winooski Valley area. Richmond comes to mind, that poor town's fields flood every year. So with that in mind, you know, there are unique challenges in each municipality, but for the most part, Jericho here has remained high and dry. So those are things, right, that are positive. With that said, I think it's important, regardless, to maintain a strong relationship and to again make sure that we're dotting our I's and crossing our T's and identifying things. Even if you just need a second pair of eyes on things, that's what I do. That's what I do. That's what I'm here. I serve town of Jericho. So, what are your questions?
Do you have a menu, I guess, or of services that you offer that you can share with us so that we can read it?
That list I can
I
provide.
was gonna say, I'm just reading, you can just print that out and give it to us. That'd be
Yeah,
great.
yeah. But I actually, I believe I had sent Paul you that. agenda item.
Yep, what you guys have. Yep,
Literally in front of me.
yep.
Oh, then that
Yep.
answers that question. Good,
Well,
Yep.
yes, but-
good.
So just,
Oh, no, you first.
so just from my understanding the whole situation, basically your job is to help us be as safe as we can, because when we screw up, ultimately it costs you money.
Keep our X mod scores down.
Yeah, this is not an us thing. This
So
is.
my relationship with you should be different than my own personal insurance agent. I never talk to, I send in money and call them when I have a crisis, which is hopefully never. Whereas your relationship is much more, could be if we want, much more involved in helping us keep our noses keep all of our things safe and on top of what we should be doing.
100%. And that's part of the beauty of the municipal insurance pool. I mean, the whole reason why we exist in the first place and have existed since the 70s was to serve towns when the private insurers, said, nah, we don't want anything to do with the small towns of Vermont anymore. And so we came into existence to be that backstop, and we've served our membership zealously ever since. And so yeah, absolutely. Again, this is less about being the insurance guy. Day one, I might be the insurance guy, but with many members, especially those who rely on me heavily, like Essex and the Junction, I like to think they see me as their de facto risk and safety manager.
And again, just so I have the 10,000-foot view, so this is PACIF is a Vermont-based thing, and basically all the towns are paying whatever we're paying annually. That goes into a fund, and that fund, hopefully no one uses it, so it grows, and then when someone has a catastrophe, money from that same pile of money gets doled out to Winooski for whatever, and then you rethink all the rates and stuff, and that, but it's all completely Vermont contained. There's no national insurance company over the whole thing. We're all basically self-insuring the towns.
Yeah, we're pooled. Think of it as like a confederation of risk, in ways that comes with a bunch of extra boots on the ground benefits, a friendly face, a phone call that people who
Yeah.
All the people that are based out of our headquarters in Center City there in Montpelier are, some towns have had relationships with the same claims folks for 20 years. I think that says a lot too. Me being sort of the new person on the block 2 years into this position, some folks have been there 20, 30 years in some cases. I think that speaks volumes also as to the individual commitment, each individual's zealous defense of our municipalities, our members. One thing I will add too, with the finance piece, that's important, seeing as it's January and the fund is back open, ready for business, is grants. We have a number of grants that towns love. The PACIF grant, PACIF grant, is a safety equipment, mostly a safety equipment grant. Every town is entitled to an amount relative to their contribution. That is to say premium. But it's a great way to replace cones that teenagers have the 5-finger discount on, and go missing, right? Got to replace cones, we'll subsidize. We'll take half the price tag. New signage, right? Sign packages for flagger operations. Various other safety equipment, chainsaw PPE, right? Chaps, helmets, things that keep our folks safe out there in the field, especially after the ice storm. I should know, I was here 2 years ago when we had the nasty one on Nashville Road.
Fire equipment PPE?
There are some limitations with firefighter equipment. We can steer you to other grants in that regard. That's a unique thing that I'm not going to bore you with. That's related to assigned risk, given the very unique factors associated with firefighting.
Yeah.
But I would say, generally speaking, if it's safety equipment that ties to public works in some way, shape, or form, odds are very good that we provide a subsidy through that grant. Would it surprise you to know that Jericho has not taken advantage of that grant since 2010? Okay, so let's not leave money on the table.
We also don't have our own fire department, so there's a little, right? Like the
But
fire
you need
department.
anything,
they have-
you need any equipment, any like road crew
Right.
equipment or.
So I really think that the best course of action is have him sit down with Jacob.
I think we did do a sign package one, but I'm not sure. I'm not quite sure. I thought we did a sign package one, but
I had our administrative assistant Leah run the numbers this morning. And
okay,
to
and
our-
nothing was there.
to
Okay,
our recollection, the last purchase through grant, which was a good purchase, mind you, was the trench box in 2010. So hey,
Yeah,
we
I
love
remember that.
Trench boxes keep folks safe. I do trench
Yeah.
construction.
Okay.
I assume it's still in good shape, the trench
Yep.
box.
Yep.
That's the kind of thing we subsidize all the time. The other is what's known as John Law Scholarship, named for the previous risk services manager, RMS manager with VLCT PACIF for many years. That scholarship is up to $2,500 for specialized municipal training annually for every municipal member. So think of all the things that would be a good idea to get trained in, right? Whether it's sending DPW crew off to get specialized HAZCOM or hazmat training or whatever the case may be, or maybe folks in the town office. First Amendment audit training. Hey, that's a hot bunch. Holy moly, right? That's the kind of thing that helps subsidize. Sexual harassment training, something else. Just general good housekeeping, right? Trainings, things that cost money and time. We can offer up to $2,500.
Is that on your website, the trainings that are offered?
Absolutely. We have a comprehensive database known as PACIF Learn. If you have a login information associated with the town of Jericho, which I would imagine that.
That the VLCT login or that a whole separate thing?
Yeah, it's through the VLCT login. It's basically an online catalog of various trainings, 5-minute trainings, 10-minute trainings, little snippets that can be really beneficial to check out. Usually it's a little tough with public works. There are some good items in there, but seeing as they're not really sitting in front of a computer, that's where I sort of cover the gaps off and do in-person trainings. In fact, most public works professionals prefer that I be boots on the ground, as do I, to be able to actually show them how to put a lock and a tag and a lockout tag and a piece of equipment. So that people go home with all these, right? That's the kind of thing, that's kind of boots on the ground service I provide.
Where do you use the word, so you have training, you have a database of your trainings?
Yep.
What do you call that?
PACIF Learn,
PACIF.
PACIF. Yep, PACIF Learn. So our login is through a website. I'm more than happy to send a number of direct links. You may have to log in, but once you're in there, we've got all kinds of other great resources and templates also about facility use, right? You know, all the times you've rented out a facility or let somebody borrow it for, you know, a party or whatever the case may be. Is alcohol being consumed at that party? Do you have a good policy in place? We get templates. You don't need to start from scratch.
In some of those services that you do you ever get pulled into scenarios where maybe there's a really bad traffic pattern, like on certain afternoon when it's sunny out, and there's no great solution and that people have thought, like, do you ever get into that kind of stuff, or is that more like that's the highway engineer, that's the, you know?
I'm probably going to punt to VTrans on that.
Yeah.
But there are other things that we can look at if it's within the town's control. Speed bump advisement, for example, is something that, you know, I would have loved to advise on.
Well played, sir.
We will be discussing. Yeah.
I would love to help wherever possible. So generally speaking, though, that kind of thing, really the best in the business are the folks based out of VTrans. We usually advise towns, like, for example, who are looking at putting you know, mirrors, that sort of thing. It's like, oh, we want to put a mirror up here. Is that okay? Traffic engineers really able to tell you
That's the thing you use for traffic, for traffic safety stuff. Intersections and that kind of thing, you would.
It really
say
depends.
V-Trans in these places.
Yes, generally, and again, part of my role is also to be a facilitator, a liaison, if you will, to connect you with resources. So if it's not something I'm qualified to do, like advise on traffic, you know, then that might be one thing where I kind of make the handoff to the person who would know. Other things, right, like advising flagging as it relates to traffic. Yeah, that's absolutely something I can engage with DPW to advise them on setting up a traffic control plan. I'm certified as a traffic control technician in the state of Vermont. I learned from Richard Wabi, who's like the governor's right-hand man with all things construction and traffic. So I feel very fortunate to have been trained by the best in business here in Vermont. The library move that they did up in Johnson, which you may be familiar with, helped advise the town on that project. I mean, this is one of a million examples of the multifaceted service that we, through me, can provide the town of Jericho.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for your
Thanks so
presentation.
much for your time. Yeah, this is really,
Very helpful.
really insightful.
You can see us in the Menard salon on your way out.
Oh, boy, are
You
you?
can do it, I believe in you. We haven't been in the Midwest enough. Good money at Menards. You guys, all right, it's fine. That's fine.
You're blushing and you're sunburned.
No, that's I'm back.
You know, I hear that in my nightmares.
I-
Yeah, I think I can say that because my NDA is up. It's been 2 years. It's fine. But anyway, just to wrap it, I really appreciate your time this evening, and I would very much, again, love to see the new town garage and provide boots on the ground advisement.
We'll get you, we'll get
Yep.
you.
Yep.
We'll get
For sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely.
Have a good one.
Thanks so much.
Thanks so much.
Okay, so the Clean Water State Revolving Loan is the one that I pulled from the agenda and punted to February. Next is review and approve applying for the UPWP for continuation of wastewater assistance.
So that is Chris Shaheen, who is on a well-deserved vacation. I told him that I would present it, and essentially, we are asking Chittenden County RPC if they will allow us to use Cape McCarthy for the wastewater project. And there's a letter. Okay, great. I think it's just Eric to sign, which basically says we would like to use Kate for this and that and this and that. She's been great. We paid her $25,000 last year out of a grant, I believe. Basically the CCRPC said that was not enough money, that you're using her more than that. And so they want $40,000 this year. And I would wholeheartedly endorse her being worth every penny of that and more. And so we basically a letter from the select board stating that we have worked with Kate, we want to keep working with Kate, and we have money budgeted. We budgeted the $40,000 in our budget, and that money has been encumbered and is ready to be spent on that.
So it's already in the budget. We're just looking to sign with, this is signing
We're
with
asking
them
them.
to say yes.
Exactly. So I'm saying we want to keep working with Kate, we have the money, we're gonna pay the money you want. And yeah, it's gonna budget. Oh, do you need a motion? Yes. I'd like to make a motion to approve applying for the UPWP for continuation of wastewater assistance and Vermont 15 scoping study, as well as letter of support for both.
I'll second that.
And I have 2 letters to sign.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. All those in favor say aye.
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 Perfect.
My goal is to hire Kate away from.
Don't say that in public comment. So other towns gonna be like, well, we'll pay her more, right?
Perfect, thank you.
Next on the agenda is review and consider approval of including in the town meeting warning articles. 2 articles. Shall the voters approve changing the conservation reserve fund, which is funded through an annual tax?
Hey, Eric, what about signing the other letter, for other UPW project?
He did.
He did? I
Yeah,
didn't hear-
Peter
hear-
made a motion for both.
Oh, Grove,
Peter
I didn't hear
included-
that because it was muffled.
Okay,
Yeah, Peter included both of his motion
Yep.
and I signed 2
Okay.
letters. Yep.
Good.
Shall the voters approve changing the conservation reserve fund, which is funded through an annual tax of 0.005 against the grand list to a dollar amount of 35,000 yearly? And then another one similar, shall the voters approve changing the Old Mill Reserve Fund, which is funded through an annual tax of 0.0027 against the grand list to a dollar amount of 18,560 yearly? So basically what this is, we're expecting that our assessments are gonna go up, which would mean these budget items, which we had budgeted at what were expected, would end up being raised by whatever amount the average grand list would be paid, which I'm expecting to be double. So that's what we're gonna talk about. Sure.
Well, for the Old Red Mill, that's an easy one,
Mhm.
because they actually came in and asked for 18,560.
Mhm.
And
And
Todd,
and that was the time I was running for the board, and so it's the first time I really started paying attention to select board meetings. Why at that time was it decided to do via one of these weird little cent things instead of just saying, let's add 18,000 for the budget? Is there a reason? And I'm not accusing anyone of doing it wrong. I'm just, why was it done that way instead of saying, let's just budget $18,560 yearly?
because Todd calculated what it would be for the taxes, so people could understand, or thought it would be better understood that way.
Back to the idea, this is gonna cost $7 per home, that, not the same, but that kind of general idea. I think we can see.
Yeah, because me seeing 0.0027, it tells me
It-
nothing. We're
yeah.
Seeing, oh, okay, the whole town's spending $18,560, and there's about 2,000 tax
Right.
bills. It gives me a lot better idea
I
than.
think that, I don't know, but this is on the tax bill, this is like printed on the tax bill.
Yes.
This also allows them to say, Old Mill tax assessment, 0.0027, as
Mhm.
opposed to, oh, by the way, part of this is $18,000 you all approved.
Mhm.
So it's.
Okay, so you can see it
So
in
you
your,
can see, hey,
Yeah.
you all.
how it
Yeah.
actually.
The budget's
Yeah.
$18,000, how it was, because you all voted to give them this amount of money each year, and that's how your tax rate is arrived at.
Yeah.
And it was, set for 10 years, and that was it.
Mhm.
Just like any.
What year was that?
So it'll end in 2031.
Oh,
Yeah.
So that was pretty straightforward to go to 18,560.
and what was was the intent of that money?
18,502.
I know where
Okay,
it came from.
gotcha.
What's the purpose of the money? What's the?
That because at the time the Old Red Mill was struggling with the wall had been destroyed. They couldn't raise the right amount of money in order to fix the wall, and so people in the community, particularly Randy Clark, the younger, was concerned that they could not do anything without the help of the community, and so he came to the select board and said, "I would like to do this, and can you put it on and got it on the warning, and people voted for it." And so most of that money has been up to this point has been used to clean up all the rocks and make the area accessible so that the geotechnical engineers could see that corner of the wall and the foundation to understand how those two interacted. And that's where we are.
Thank you for that history. More broad question. I see Deborah Rawson Library is funded the same way. So does that mean they're going to get an increase because we decided to do a reassessment this year? So does
No,
that mean-
because their budget is set at whatever the number of the budget is.
That they send over.
So that number that was last year, 0.0311, that will be different.
Right,
And it'll be
because
based on,
whatever
they'll
they.
take that number and then populate that
Mhm,
instead of taking this number to
Mhm.
populate the full number.
Yeah, but I said it was wrong. 'Cause I was thinking that they had to do that to show that line there.
Right, so it
Right,
seems
the
like. it
fire
seems like we do
department
that
and Deborah Rawson will be that number that like the fire department gave that 600,000.
Right.
It will,
That will feed the
Mhm,
interest,
mhm.
the tax rate.
It just feels weird. So I've got these, I bring my tax bill. So,
That's like a handful of things that are.
right, so
Yeah.
in some cases, this is the driving number and it You know, and
Yeah,
I'm picturing a
yeah.
spreadsheet, right? So there's a formula over here that uses
But
that,
some
and in
of
some
them-
cases,
There's a formula over here that uses that.
that uses
Right,
that.
yeah,
That is
yeah,
weird.
yeah, yeah,
And
it is.
Underhill has none of those things, by the way. They have one thing. They don't have they
Yeah.
just have, this is your tax, and it includes
All
the
of that.
fire department, it
Yeah.
includes the library, it
Yeah.
includes all that stuff.
I'm
And
not
I think I like this, I like
Mm,
seeing it, but but I never understood that
Right.
weird,
And I think that's a bit, can I see that?
I don't mind sharing it, you can look it up.
That's because the people of Jericho like to look at all the details.
Yeah, it's not a bad
It's
thing.
odd, it's odd, I'll tell you, it is odd, like, why isn't? I don't know what, why isn't the roads on there? Why isn't the amount we pay for
Right.
roads, why isn't that on there? Like,
Yeah.
What brought
what
these
things are called out?
specific things
And I
out?
think that it does, and I can imagine, I don't know this, I can imagine that makes the fire department feel exposed. Like,
Oh, absolutely.
Look, just so you know, you're paying the fire department, like, that's how I can imagine they are seeing it.
I think if I'm correct, Catherine, correct me if I'm wrong, the fire department was included in the budget at one point. And then it was taken out?
Yes, and that's because that's when they started having, it was taken out, as I recall, when they started having paid employees because people, there was a tension, shall we say, at that time. And people wanted to know how much the fire department actually was costing rather than being part of, and then over time, because when Matt Champlin started talking about what the fire department did, what parts of the budget were, people were so thrilled with that kind of presentation, we just kept it up because they could really see and appreciate how much went into different parts and aspects of the fire department's budget.
Yeah, it's
Which-
it's just interesting, it's interesting,
It feels like a somewhat random list of things that are special.
local agreements feels weird, because I don't know what that means.
Right.
That I'm spending .00.
That's
$22
that's
on
the
it.
tax rate. You have the local agreement, then you have,
$22. Local agreement is $22 for me, sorry,
Yeah.
it's .0,
is that down below as well?
yeah, .0043 for the local agreement, it's cost me $22.
Town fire department, local fire, or local, agreements, the library, conservation and all that.
So generally, I think that's a good conversation that we should have. That's
Yeah.
not- I think we should just, as Catherine said, just move the old red mill to a flat amount of 18,560. That's what it actually was.
So should
And
that,
change the annual tax rate to whatever it should be.
But I don't know if we can,
The
it was
appraisal.
voted,
Yeah, I-
very specifically as a ballot item.
right,
With
it
that-
will have to go to, it'll have to be on the warning to change it to this.
But it did say for 18,000 to create, get.
It did, yes.
The original one did say to get
Yep.
$18,560, and that was the tax rate at the time.
So are you saying that you guys could just change it now, or would it have to be a ballot item?
I was thinking you could probably just change it now because you had 18,560 in the regular budget.
Yes, right.
As a warrant item that they voted on to provide $18,560.
Okay.
So you think we can just not
Say
secretly,
it.
but just
Say
on our
it.
own, just make that change and just.
Because of the way,
Because of the way it was.
the specific way in which it was worded in 2020.
It was the amount that was approved, not the.
Okay.
Right, even though it was both actually, but we can say the intent was the 18,560, and so that's, don't need to.
I mean, I don't know if
Okay.
there's a legal challenge to that or not, but basically it was brought to the public as 18,560 on an annual basis.
I'm over with that.
There's a way to confirm you're okay with that.
So
Yeah.
that's saying that this does not need to be on the ballot.
The second one,
The
I
correct.
think we're deciding as a board whether we feel comfortable making that determination here or not.
So I would just, do a quick check with, VLCT or Claudine then to confirm. But it's possible you wouldn't have to put that on the ballot again, or it may be very simple. I don't know.
So we can't call
We gotta
VLCT
do it.
right now.
Right,
Yeah,
right, right.
I'm gonna make a motion.
But you
to-
don't have to have the vote on the warning until it's up for, you meet the timelines for the warning, because it's too early to vote on, officially approve a warning.
Oh, she's saying we can ignore it for right now and make a decision later before the Australian ballot goes out. You get ballot item, it's not gonna be.
Before we actually have to approve the
Alright.
warning.
But
Yeah,
you have to.
This is that subject that changes every time we talk about it.
Yes.
We have to do it
By
today.
the way, I'm gonna make a chart about that, literally. I have a note to like make a chart, a flow chart of that timeline and the reasoning behind it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can wait on this, on this one, we can wait because it doesn't.
You can, but the thing is we have town meeting reimagine on the 20th. The thing
They're not
is
going to
we-
discuss anything except the budget.
But
Let Paula finish her thought.
But
I'm sorry.
we will need to approve the warning at a special meeting on the
Right.
22nd, maybe. Because
Yeah.
it has to go to the printers that following week.
the 20th was picked because of the printer. We
Yes.
don't have much time
Yeah.
after the. 20th.
Correct.
So it basically,
Either do it now or we have a special meeting on the
But
22nd.
isn't this number already in the budget?
Well, you can't send it, you have to, you can't approve the warning until the date that the VLCT is established.
What do you
There
mean
is-
the VLCT is
I
established?
didn't
There
realize
is a-
there was a
there
too
is a
soon.
date
Sounds
that
like you're
says-
saying there's a too soon date?
Yes, this is too soon.
No
There is
more
a
than
date that the
20 days
VLCT
before.
says that you can, that's when you, the first time, there's a date that is the first time you can approve a town meeting warning.
Yes, but it has to be the 22nd. Because that's a Friday or a Thursday or a Friday. And then that following week, that Tuesday, it's got to go to the printers. Or Monday or Tuesday. So it's that these timelines just get so intertwined
So-
and
Right.
it's so difficult.
Now, I am gonna, like I said, make out a sheet that explains all this.
So what
Uh,
day did the VLCT actually say for this year?
I don't have that in front of me, but again, I'm worried about we have to get it to the printers by the
printer, you mean
the
like,
town report.
town report.
The town report that includes the budget
In
and
the-
the town and the official warning.
In the budget right now, is it, oh, so this is gonna be, this has to be on, gotcha. Good, it's not
Right,
wait-
that
budget,
official
wait.
warning will need to be signed by you guys like next Thursday or Friday.
Ideally. do it
Or
on
Tuesday, right, we've
That's-
done it
that's-
on
that's the
Tuesday.
Power of that meeting is that we, boom, our signatures go on it and we show the voters that we're really taking this meeting seriously.
Okay, so I'm gonna make a motion to change the old Red Mill Reserve Fund. To a flat dollar amount of $18,560 for the remainder of its 10-year span.
That will end in 2031.
2031.
I'll second that.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Now. How did the other one come about? The conservation.
The other one was like just a recommendation by the finance treasurer's office that would it be best to change that one as well?
Okay,
Just do, this is not saying that it's required, but the thought behind it was if the grand list doubles, this is gonna double, right? This will go up to like $70,000 a year, right? And that was the thought process behind this question.
Except that when it was actually brought to the select board and when the select board approved it, it actually was a tax rate.
Yeah.
That's what was
Mhm.
voted on, was actually
Right.
tax rate. So you would be making a significant change.
Mm-hmm.
so that would need to be
About.
a ballot
Mm-hmm.
item.
Yeah.
So that's what,
Was, first of all, what are we gonna do without Catherine here to know the entire?
she still has a phone.
I know, yes.
She has a phone,
Right.
cell phone.
We have to like, Catherine, you're gonna have to be on Zoom for every select board meeting, even during.
As a visitor.
Only as long as I'm on board.
What, Catherine, when this was passed, it was passed. The $35,000 was just a number it happened to end up at. It was passed at 0.005 on the tax rate, and we don't care what money that ends up being.
Right, it was actually put in as a tax rate, and back then it was about 33,000, something like that. That was, but the number actually was not, I don't remember the actual thousands of dollars being put in the thing. It was put in as a tax rate itself. And that's what
But
was
who would
voted
vote
on.
on that? Who would vote and say, yeah, 0.005, that makes so much sense to me. Yep.
Oh, you
We'll
should have seen the presentations by the Conservation
Anybody-
Commission and everybody else, how they explained it and everything. And so people, and they, got people to vote for it.
And nobody thinks, oh, what about reappraisal in 10 years? How's that? gonna affect
Right,
this?
right.
And that was on the ballot or that was the town meeting?
That was actually a ballot, that was a, town meeting discussion, just like we
Town
had
meeting
regular town,
item.
it was a town meeting warned item, just like any other town meeting warned item.
Yep.
Yeah.
okay.
An article at town meeting, which was discussed and debated
Yes.
by 200
And
people
voted on.
in person.
Yeah.
Yep. Through a ballot.
Yeah. So they voted just like you would any other budget, and then it was added to the budget. I mean,
Catherine, we have a hand raised in the room I'd like to call on. Go ahead.
sure,
Thank you.
I'm done.
Just state your name, please. Can you just state your name?
Oh, yes, that's Wayne Ellis. And I remember years ago, there was a big campaign in Jericho that people wanted to know how these things were being funded. So I think that's what drove it. I want to know how much this is and why this number came about. Because there was at one point that it would stand up in town meeting, but I think XYZ should get, $100 from people. Okay. So there was no real, there wasn't the math that showed you how it was right there. So there was a big push to do that. And I think that probably was where these came from. But the people of the town said, we want to know how these numbers came about.
Yeah, it makes no sense to me to have it on some line items and not on others, right? There's like 400 line items. Yeah.
Right.
I don't get it, but I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying I don't understand it.
Part of the other issue was that the open land law, whatever, open lands, was funded some years by the select board, some years the select board didn't do
Open space.
anything, it was just, and they wanted to have something consistent.
Okay. Sabina?
Can I come up and?
Yes, absolutely.
I will say the insurance guy reminded me that if he was gonna talk about return on investment and your return on investment for doing good insurance policy is $4 on your $1. I can tell you that VHCB did a study in 2019 that showed for every dollar you invest in conservation, you get a $9 return on investment in the state of Vermont. So it's nothing to sneeze at.
Do you understand the math on that? Like what is?
Well, that's not the
Okay.
point of my, that was an aside. I'm happy to share that with you, but
Hey, wait, that's interesting.
well, they did. It was a multi-pronged study that, showed that from all areas of economics in the state are impacted by putting money into conservation. So we'll leave it at that for now. I'll share the rest with you. I'm just gonna go ahead now and go on script because otherwise I go into tangents. So I'm here tonight regarding the proposed article, shall the voters approve changing the Conservation Reserve Fund, which is funded through an annual tax of $0.005 against the grand list to a dollar amount of $35,000 yearly. So my name is Sabina Ernst, and I have prepared comments co-written with Susan Brzee and Tom Barabo. Tom, Susan, and I were instrumental in the creation of the Conservation Reserve Fund, which was approved by voters at town meeting in 2020. Although we currently serve on the Planning and Conservation Commissions respectively, our comments tonight are not presented on behalf of either commission, rather as concerned residents. So we have two concerns. The first is changing the mechanism of funding for the Conservation Reserve Fund, and the second is about the process. So regarding the mechanism, and this might help answer some of your questions. The funding structure for the CRF as it stands now was specifically created for its annual funding to remain proportional to the grand list. And the CRF is supposed to change as property values change so that we can retain the leverage in the real estate market. So keeping it at a flat rate does not allow us to grow with the changing property values. And so the letter that we sent goes into much more detail on that, but for now I'll just stop there. And then regarding the process, the Conservation Commission members, Tom and I, were surprised to learn about this just a couple of days ago. We have not had a time to talk as a Conservation Commission about this in a warned meeting. So it just caught us off guard, and we're feeling like we would like to be part of the process in a much more meaningful way. So those are our concerns.
So you're opposed to this being a ballot item going to the voters?
Yeah, so our recommendation is do nothing to change the Conservation Reserve Fund at this time. It's a small amount of money. It is
1% of our budget though.
okay. It has been working as intended to finance conservation efforts in Jericho, and it enables the town to participate in the market. And that is becoming more important as we go on. So that's our hope, is that you just leave it for now. If that's not possible, then we ask that, we sit down at a table together and work on this together, and then bring it up again next year and put it before the voters after we've had time to talk about what's working and what isn't working. And if that isn't possible, then we would ask that we not change the funding structure, but we determine a new rate. So something other than 0.005. So those would be our three recommendations.
So I'll share my take on it. I read your letter. I get where you're coming from. And I appreciate how much time you put into it. Here's my challenge. I guess it's on me. I didn't think about this stuff. I wasn't thinking about how things in this budget that we worked so hard on for 6 months are changed through a different mechanism and aren't just a line item. I mean, it's not surprising that a $4 million budget is complex, but we worked really hard to keep the budget increase to under 8%, and it's just barely under 8%. And I didn't know that, because I have no idea what the values are going to do. I'm guessing that they're double, because I happened to buy a home exactly when we did our last one, and I think that house is almost exactly double. Maybe it's 80, maybe it's 90%. But that means that this line item that we've been budgeting around and working hard to figure out where we cut, making really hard choices that upset people, right? Like we're making all these decisions based on the budget that's in front of us. And I personally wasn't thinking like, oh, don't forget there's a reappraisal that will affect these random 4 things in a different way, but not this one, because that one's calculated backward, right? Like I just find it frustrating on that no matter how deeply you look into stuff, you still miss that's a huge miss. It's a huge miss on us, I guess. If the rate goes up by 10%, it's not a big deal. If it goes up by double, it's a huge deal. We're doubling a line item because
Right.
we decided to, I guess we better go do our assessments at the peak of the market when things are going to crash again, right? Like I just wish it didn't happen. So I get it. I agree with you that it's a little bit rushed. It also doesn't feel fair to just let that go to 70 grand. That's kind of where I'm like balancing those two things, right? That's where I'm at with it.
Susan, go ahead with your question.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
I just wanted to add in that another reason why the tax structure is used is, or that we recommended that in 2020. That's what several other towns use. And the Williston rate at the time was 1 cent per property value, and we chose half a cent. One of the reasons why a tax rate is used is kind of exactly, Eric, what you're saying, that because the budget changes up and down, and the reserve fund is designed as a long-term capital reserve fund, basically. And since our capital budget was not accruing money over time, like you might not have any Mob's Farm to conserve for another 5 or 10 years, and you want to build up that fund over time. And it's designed to not be subject to those, to those basic whims of the up and down. My understanding at the time also is that municipalities are quite limited in how they can accumulate funds and reserve funds over time. And this was the way that was recommended when you want to be able to do that, was to have it as a tax rate.
Did you anticipate a reappraisal though, when you went through all that work and thinking, like, did you anticipate a reappraisal that would likely double it in 1 year? And then
Well, yeah, because for the town to be able to purchase properties and help farmers conserve their property, the money that you need to do that is exactly aligned with the changes in the market. So if anything, the Conservation Reserve Fund, one could argue, but we're not making this argument, is underfunded because it suffered the same that the town has suffered, where there hasn't been a reappraisal since 2016. And so, but this fund was established in 2020, and since 2020, property values have increased 63% in Chittenden County, and the Conservation Reserve Fund has only increased by a couple of $1,000s. So it already is behind. And so in some ways it's really a good thing that it's going to get a bump up, but then in subsequent years, until the next reappraisal in 10 years, it will have only very modest changes unless the grand list radically changes again.
What is the concept, what's the CRF used for?
So we use it for as a leveraging tool to help people who want to do conservation easements on their land. So since its inception, we've used it to supplement the fundraising for the conservation easement of Mob's Farm and three farms in town: the Davis Farm, the Rawson Farm, which you guys just approved the funding for, and the farm upstream on Lee River Road. So those are all now permanently conserved as farms in Jericho.
So it's used, is this a true statement that it's used to buy, not to buy, but if we understand easement is just, you will
It's a
not.
legal
you will not-
agreement,
Right, you will
right.
not sell this and make money off it. Are we using it to buy land?
We could, it's written in we haven't done that. But
Is it used-
ostensibly,
it's
we
used to put-
could.
It's used to put property into easements where it won't be developed.
Right.
It's usually part of a funding stack. It's
Right.
like the town is only one contributor to like a big conservation funding stack. And there's a policy that was adopted by the select board soon after that 2020 meeting that has criteria for which projects get approved and the process that the projects go through.
And it always comes back to the select board for final approval.
Bernie has his hand up. Bernie?
Yes, thank you. I just want to repeat that there are other towns that follow the same example and use the same process of using a percentage of the grand list. So that this is not something that's unique to Jericho. I am concerned with procedure that we, and I don't want to overstate this, but it's sort of like we're relitigating something that the voters hashed out, and now we're sort of questioning their outlook and what were they thinking and did they understand? And it almost sounds like we're presuming that they didn't anticipate that the amount would go up over time because of reappraisals. I just have a concern with that process. I mean, regardless of this particular topic, we could end up in the same boat for many other items that are on the budget. And it doesn't seem that it is, I won't say productive, but it doesn't seem it's fair to the voters to, unless they come in with a petition, which says, hey, we have whatever number the petitions require, 500, 1,000 signatures, that shows that there's a bulk of the public that says, we no longer feel that this is appropriate. But for the select board, it sounds more personal to come in and say, we're questioning the voters for what they vote, something that they voted on in the past. And in fact, you are actually questioning, well, why did they think this? And did they think about this? And, again, we're rehashing that. I'm concerned with that process.
Yeah, you're right. I get it, but I also need to be informed when we go through this budget. Working through this budget is terrible. It's awful. It's heartbreaking. And so to have one misunderstanding that I probably voted on and agreed to at the time before I was right, like I think our taxes, I think our home values are gonna double, which means this line item doubles. Is it gonna break anybody to leave it on there? No, but if we leave it as is, I propose that we do our best job here tonight to quickly go into the budget and at least put what we think it's gonna be. The budget is supposed to be our best guess at what we're gonna spend, and that is currently wrong, the way it's written. So something has to change. We have to either change the budget and say, between the five of us, I guess, oh, I think it's gonna be 60%. Oh, I think it's gonna be 70%. I think it's gonna be, I don't think it's gonna change at all, right? We'll have to work through that and change the budget before we go to the Tuesday meeting, or we make this change, or there's no good solution. So I get it. I am just literally asking because I don't understand why we would have done it that way. I've gotten some really good answers now, but it's our job, Bernie, to look at all these line items, and that just wasn't clear to me. It will be clear from now on, I promise, but I just didn't know that. I didn't know there was a hidden, basically every time we find a hidden 35 grand that I didn't know about, I get kind of frustrated, especially with how much time put into it. So that's where it came from, not attacking the voters or the work that went into it.
I'd like to answer that very shortly to say,
Bernie, hold on, Bernie.
It's also putting it back to the voters. We agreed to this in 2020, because we're now looking at the FY27 budget.
Right.
What do you want to do, voters?
Yeah.
I mean, the economy was very different then, and our expenses were very different then.
Sure.
Just probably, I know this is a stupid question. Is the FY27 tax rate going to be based on the new home values?
Yes.
No,
Yes. Yes,
the 27 budget is now. It is not the new home values. New home values.
My question is the budget that we're voting on, that we're discussing at TMRI on January 20th, the money that will be raised to pay that budget, is that going to be based on the newly appraised values of homes?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
It is. I confirmed with Amy. I confirmed that 4 times before. It is will be based on the new values, which makes it really complicated to say. Right. So now when we try to say, well, if your home's worth $400,000 last year, it won't be this year, but you can kind of it's going to make that whole part a little more complex to try to explain.
I know, but theoretically, I know people are going to freak out. It will, because the numbers are going to change. But technically, your budget is split. The numbers are supposed to be neutral, essentially, with a reappraisal from what you're spending now on the current houses. They're
Your home
not,
value goes up, your tax rate goes down.
yes.
Except for on this particular line. We're double.
I mean, I think based on what Bernie's put, there's a lot of legal things that we would be jumping over that were not handled if you're going to vote on it tonight. I think Sabina's idea of if you're going to want to change it, work on that for the next year so that everybody understands it, because we would be going back on some of the things we signed off on in the early with the original agreement.
Okay, so you're proposing my first idea, which is to go into the budget and change the budget to our best guess of what we think that this is gonna go up to. Is that what you're saying, Catherine?
Well, I think it's already in the budget, isn't it? I mean, because we have to put a
In the
number
budget
in.
at the old rate, it's gonna.
It's in the
double.
budget as 35. It goes up just according to what it is right now. At the,
So we have to find, if it does double, another 35,000 in the FY 27 budget. And I'm already very concerned about an 8% increase, out of it should be a 4% increase. So as much as I love this fund, where's the money coming from? It's gotta come from somewhere, because we cannot raise higher than that, in my opinion, the percentage.
I'm just concerned about the legalese that we would not be following our own rules to do this. If you look at the information that Bernie has provided based on what we have signed as the agreement with the conservation for this fund, we would not be following what we signed.
Right.
We're not proposing breaking the rule of the voters.
Right.
What's in front of us are, we send this back to the voters. I see only two options. We send this back to the voters and say, we want to change this now from a tax rate to a specific line item. That's option one. Option two is we do nothing and go change the budget because we know that's not an accurate number that's in there now. We need to present.
But I gave you another option, which is just to change it from 0.005 to some lower number that generates less income.
But
you're
yeah,
not-
but
I mean, I don't want to do that, but that at least keeps things the way they were intended. And it seems like a middle ground.
That feels harder than. Because what if I'm wrong and it only goes up 20% and then we'll have to do it again next year,
That's why
right?
B was wait.
Right.
I'm just concerned about some of the things that were in the document that we signed that we because it talked about meeting with the Conservation Commission and meeting with, and doing things if you're going to change and when this would change, because there were rules when we would even change it. That's what I'm concerned about is,
You're saying we don't have, based on that, are you trying to say we don't have the option to send this back to voters now?
Not now. I'm thinking, because we want to make sure that we're doing what the rules that we set ourselves up for are following those rules. And there are rules of how we decided that how we would change that number in the future if we needed to.
if we were to do like Sabina says, wait and kind of work through this process through this whole, like soon and kind of work through this. If we were to do that, if the Conservation Commission agrees to some sort of amount, or can that be made at a select board meeting, or does it have to be a vote with the voters?
To voting because of the way it was set up in the first place.
Here's my thought. If this had been realized on January 22nd, we have town meeting reimagined, it's all done, budget's done, stamped off the printer, and then whoever said, oh crap, you know what? That would be the same as the backhoe that we bought when I first came on the board, like, oh shit, that's we. Really working on my working on my sorry. Oh shoot,
Yeah.
we messed up. We're gonna have to figure this out. It's gonna be a problem. We got to shuffle. We'll have to cut. You have to figure it out.
Yeah.
We happen to find it out 2 weeks before that. The budget hasn't been passed yet. I feel like the budget is this feels like the same sort of thing. It just happened to fall this really bad time.
But timing is a big deal. We're gonna go, we're ready to go present on Tuesday. And we all know it's wrong. We can't do that.
It's not wrong. I mean, you
Yes,
didn't
it
change
is
it yet.
wrong. It is
And
wrong
maybe
in
this
the
is-
budget
Maybe
right now.
this is just, and Susan, you can chime in, but maybe this is just my naivete, but I think of it as when I get my tax bill and I see that line item, I think of it as a bill. Like, okay, this is my contribution to the reserve fund. This year it's $20. This cycle it's $20 that I'm paying extra on my tax bill to put into this rainy day fund. Right? So am I,
But I'm talking about
is
the
that
budget. The
wrong?
budget.
Right, but is that, I'm not seeing
I
how,
think-
I'm,
If I could, it sounds to me almost like it's being double counted. If it's included in the budget that totals up to $4 million, and the $4 million has to be covered by the tax rate based on the grand list, but this has its own funding. It doesn't have to be, it shouldn't be in the total that gets funded by the taxes that you're wrestling with, because it has its own source of funding. It has its own criteria for spending. And like Bernie said, if at town meeting, maybe it might be it might not even register because people are very much in favor of this investment, or it might not, in which case then they would petition for the following year, because that's how I believe that's how the process is supposed to work. It's supposed to, the reason it's set aside is to insulate it somewhat. Like if there were different select board members who had different thoughts about it, it's supposed to be insulated. So I don't know why you're worried about showing it as a line item in your budget that you're funding with your tax rate. It has its own tax.
in the it's in the reserve fund.
Just can we take it out of the budget? Just as
We
though
can't.
it's
Everything
its own
that-
thing.
The thing that I look at in the budget is this percentage increase. And maybe,
No.
to your
But-
point,
but-
I should,
but Steph,
No,
you know,
no,
so-
that's different than what they're saying.
It's not even part of the town budget.
right, I know, I get it.
Yeah.
And so also do that with the fire department
Those
and,
are increased.
right, so get rid of the fire department, get rid of, right, because all those things are on this sheet.
That's the problem, is the
Mhm.
sort of the logical result of that is, okay, so the old red mill, that's gonna be.
That's now in the
not our budget, that's not in our budget anymore, that should be in the budget, that should be its own.
Right,
The red mill is taxing you, the conservation reserve fund is taxing you, the fire department is taxing you, none of that is into the town.
And
not-
that's in that section, that's that in a separate section of the budget. All those
No,
things,
but-
if you
No,
look
no,
at your,
no, the fire department is in our budget, our 7.9, whatever it is reflects
No.
the. Yes,
yes,
it's in, but when you look at how the budget is presented, all these things are separate. And people can see it, the separate line items on their own, in their own section.
But the fact that the.
I'm gonna just try something.
The fact.
Give me a minute.
You pulling up the
The fact that
budget?
the fire department budget went up by whatever percent had an impact on, made our budget go up, contributed to our 7.97 or whatever it is percent.
Maybe it
increase.
doesn't. Maybe they're right, maybe it doesn't. Let me just try plugging in.
Pull the very back end of the budget up.
I'm doing it right now. I just need some time to find if anyone knows where that is. I'm looking
No.
for
The,
conservation.
There's a reserve fund.
yeah, you can go to down there on the bottom, there's a budget tab, if you've got a bunch of them. Okay,
Hey, Catherine.
and then scroll down to like page 7 or 8.
Catherine, do you think that what I just said is not true? Do you think
Thank you.
that the increase in the fire department budget did not have an
Where'd they
effect on the
go?
increase in our budget?
I think they're all separate because they're voted on, it's voted on separately for the fire department. The Deborah Rawson,
Yeah,
Is-
I know what you're saying, but I'm saying, do you think that the fire department budget did not go up? that would, if the fire department budget went down this year, do you think that would have no effect on our 7.98% increase?
I think those are separate numbers because it's voted on separately.
So you think it would have no effect on our budget increase?
I'm trying to remember over the last few years whether it did or didn't.
It has to.
Yeah. Because
Yeah, it has to. We have to include this.
yeah, I
Same
mean,
with,
you,
like, the
in the
Deborah
end,
Rossen, it has to
in
be
the end, you
included.
have to include it on the tax rate. But I'm not sure we've totaled, how it's totaled in to the actual budget for everybody else because it's set up separately when we do the budget and presentation and stuff. So I'm not sure how it, we have to include it on the tax rate. There's no question about that, the total tax rate.
Hey, she's right. No, it doesn't. It's not coming into our budget.
All right, I take back everything I said. It's
So
fine.
I miss yoga for this.
I need someone to explain this to me.
I'll explain.
I miss yoga.
Right, the spreadsheet plays in. By changing that number to 70,000.
35. Give us the screen, sorry.
Have a what?
It's on screen.
Oh, I do, yeah. I never use it.
I mean, we're sort of at a disadvantage because we don't have the reappraisal.
No, I'm being serious.
Yeah, yeah, you have to. Yeah.
I don't know that number, like, click on that number.
All I did there was to make it so I didn't scroll to it every time. That's just an equal of this other. That was just a little shortcut I did.
So I've also refreshed all of your. Everything refreshed, everything, nothing's changed. So yes, that does not
But
go
wait,
into our. formula.
That's not a formula, that's.
Yes, it is.
What's it pointing to?
It-
BL 21,
It's just pointing, it's just so I didn't have to scroll.
no, I understand that, but I wanna
Every
see,
freaking
I wanna
time.
see BL 21.
I'm showing. It's this right here. It's
Is it
just,
BL
I
21?
literally just put
Is
it
it-
there so I can see it.
Yeah, I know, I understand.
Oh,
that,
you're-
but I wanna see what the formula is.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have their own calculations.
Okay, so when we say our budget's going up 8%. And this other thing adds another 36 grand. It doesn't actually change that budget.
It has its own budget, basically. They're voting on their own number.
I think
Percentage is just a division of these two numbers is all it is, that nothing.
right. Because we're not asking for revenue, I think.
No, I know what you're saying, but I'm saying through the spreadsheet, all this number is only relates to these two numbers.
Okay,
So we gotta look at where those two numbers are coming from.
that's the general tax revenue.
Oh, bad, yeah.
Here's why I think that it matters. Okay, so if I change it on a different line, like let's say,
Okay, yes, that would be a good point, that'd be a good point.
so if
Yeah,
I change it on,
yep, yes, that would prove it to me.
yeah,
that would prove it
so I'm
to me.
gonna change.
Change salaries to $8 million.
I'm just gonna add, I don't even know what I clicked on, I'm changing it from 26 grand to 100 grand,
Yes, goes up to 10%.
that'll change.
I apologize.
Are we good?
Why would we even question this? It's already on the. We voted on it 5 years ago. Was it don't.
Should have done this. Just why it's brought up. I gotta do my due diligence.
No, can I just say the budget is a bear and you guys have done a yeoman's job and thank you very much for listening and letting us help you try to come to the best decisions that we all can.
You know, I would not want to be in your shoes.
Well,
But Eric, you bring up a good point. Eric, I think you bring up a good point that, and I've struggled with this myself when we had the in-house discussions on line items. The more clarity that we can give, and I talked to Catherine a few years ago about, because I compared the Underhill to the Jericho line items. The more clarity on each line item the less confusion and these long drawn out discussions, more of them get prevented. And I think this is just a highlight case of that. Is not only is the public, which isn't looking at this as scrutinizing as you are, they're at even a worse situation, right, to try to understand this. You who are looking at it still, because, you know, select boards are new or there's so many things to look at. So it behooves us to maybe make a note on this line item, a little notation.
Oh, I won't forget it.
People change and other complexities come along.
Except the question to me is, regardless of how it's all put together in the spreadsheet, the bottom line is that the amount of money that has to be raised by taxes has gone up $35,000.
Yes.
Right, somewhere between between $10,000 and $35,000.
Yeah, it's nice to have it separated because we don't necessarily have to answer to
No,
it, but you're right,
but
but still,
it's
gonna change
It's
this.
gonna change a number and
Yeah.
But a lot of things are changing, right? I mean, if, let's say the garage is being,
Bernie, hold on, I understand a lot of things are changing, I'm just saying that it feels weird to me that the taxpayer is paying a different amount of money, it's a significantly different amount of money, and we're going and saying, oh, don't worry, it's under 8%. If you don't
Well,
wanna
and-
look too closely.
And we've been saying, don't stress about your property value, it's relative.
Right,
It's-
right,
and-
exactly.
And now it's not, it's not relative on that line, it's relative, it's like, that's what's weird about the way we have these lines, so. It's relative on this one, it's relative on this one. It's relative
Yeah.
on this one,
Yeah.
not on this one though,
Yeah.
but yes on this one, right? That's not right. So
But
we gotta
that's-
figure that. I don't know what that answer.
but I think that was explained earlier on. The reason the vote put it this way was anticipating, first of all, that it's a reserve fund, right? It's not a fixed cost for this year. So it's not like,
Yeah, no,
say,
I get it. I get how it was voted. What I'm saying is Underhill doesn't split out any of these lines at all. They say, this is your tax. Right? They don't do any of that.
they do it.
We do it to try to add clarity. And I think it does add clarity. Like Sabina said, I love seeing that. Okay, of this bigger bill, at least $300 or whatever it is going into this thing. That makes me feel better, right? But when it comes to something like a reappraisal, which I guess we only do every 10 years or whatever, but still, like,
I think now.
we're telling people that the reappraisal really doesn't change much unless you go more than the average and whatever, but like all these things that are trying to add more clarity get really actually more confusing because they each line of these specific things on your tax bill are handled differently based on weird historical votes, right? So that's what I'm saying. I don't know the answer to how to fix it, but I think we've got to figure it out.
Well,
How to add
the Jericho Historical Society one will go away because that one had a 10-year expiration date on it. So that, you know, it's democracy. It is that way because that's the way the voters wanted it at that time.
Yeah. But we didn't give them an option to vote on the reappraisal. We just decided to do it, so.
Don't we have to do it?
Yes,
No.
yes, we do.
Yes, we have to do it, and then also the state will say, but there's only one company that does it. We can only do 2 a year, and there's
Right,
250
that is true.
So
It
no,
is
you
true.
don't have.
It's true.
He's pointed out the wrong run-out conversation. I actually found this extremely helpful.
Yeah, me too.
And I would never understood it had we not had this conversation.
Right, if it wasn't so confusing.
And now I feel like this is embarrassing to say on YouTube, that like I feel like okay, my unintended budget is absolutely.
You just lost it.
Right. Have no-
I think Catherine does get it, and that's what she was trying to tell us, so.
Surprise, surprise.
I think what happens is this, it all comes down to the spreadsheet. I think once we get below a certain line in the spreadsheet, it's
Yes,
just, like, they need to color code it differently.
it-
Something-
yes.
It's a different thing.
yes.
It still ends up here, but it's different.
Mhm.
It's own thing that we don't
Mhm.
control.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay, a little
Okay.
budget lesson for everybody in town.
Yep.
Oof.
Thank you, Susan.
Oy.
Is that it?
Yep.
We done?
Sorry,
Yes.
guys.
Okay.
Thank you.
Until next time, next Tuesday.
Let me know at TV.
Let me know if there's anything else broken and I'll come fix it.
It's too blanket of a statement, I feel like.
Next on the agenda is review and consider approval of the Neighborhood Infrastructure Assistance Fund. And all we're doing, we made this determination about this, but we made it in a budget working session, which is a public meeting. But we thought it was good to do this here. I would like to not talk about it. I would ask the select board members to just make a motion so we can have the motion recorded.
I would like to make a motion to approve Neighborhood Infrastructure Assistance Fund as currently noted in our budget. Thank you, for the amount of $20,000.
I would second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. I don't have a wastewater task force update unless you do, but
I have something for executive session.
Yep.
But the, state maybe put together 3 hour-and-a-half webinars two about tips, which is tax increment funding, and 1 about CHIP.
That was
And
interesting.
the CHIP one today was that was the reason they could have skipped the first 2.
Yeah.
Today was
Oh, I didn't
really
get the,
interesting.
yeah,
Oh, good, good. I was hoping that was going to be good.
yeah.
And it opened up a question for me that I want to need to talk about in a minute.
Mhm.
Okay.
I had more questions for you, but I didn't want to bug you because I'm like, wait, what
Well,
about
on the
this? What about
backside,
this?
on
What
the
about
backside,
this?
Chris Brown, who was there.
Yep.
In the task force, and Kate was there as well. We were just like.
Oh, yeah, because I was
had
like, what?
35 emails.
Oh, yeah. Well,
yeah, I couldn't make it.
it was
you know,
interesting. It was very
I guess
interesting.
it's
Yeah,
worth
I
watching.
watched it. Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Thank you for attending.
And as I understand it, there are 4 webinars going to be related to that system, to learn.
I think it was
about
just 3.
Just 3.
Last one was today.
Yeah, the last one was today.
The first,
It was TIF, CHIP.
Yep.
yeah,
Chip. Because, if it works, you don't want to get your hand slapped like the bigger towns did when they first started the TIFs. So.
Mm.
Oh, remember that, Eric?
yes. I think not many towns have them. That's what I.
Okay.
All
All right.
right, so now we're on to regular select board updates.
Is there any last public comment?
There isn't, but why not? What do you got?
I just wanted to ask, I was looking at the town manager reimagine website, and I know you guys were talking about, you want to get this stuff ready for the 20th. And I was just wondering, what is the sequence of events? In other words, like, I was thinking some of these questions would have been at that 20th meeting against people.
So that 20th meeting is it's pretty abbreviated when you compare it to an old town meeting. So that meeting is really focused on the budget. It's really just the budget. It's not like it's our best version of the old town meeting, and we tried to focus on the budget, but it doesn't start till like 6. And so it's like 2.5 hours. So we don't have the time for all of that other stuff. And so we're trying to focus on the most important thing, and voters felt the most important thing is the budget. So it's really it's a big budget. It's your chance to go in and say, I hate the way you did this budget. You should change this, and you can, if you get enough support, we'll change it.
So then what about, because I thought on the Reimagine website, it said people could come and propose, you add something to the May 3rd ballot.
March.
Is that?
You can, I did, yeah,
So that's-
I thought that's what we came up with too, but I don't think that's the case. We need more clarity on that next year.
If you're just curious, the answer is we're not sure. My answer is I'm not sure.
Yeah.
If you have an actual, no, I actually want to propose this thing, then we should talk about that so we can figure out if that's possible.
What is the sequence like? So is tonight the last night you could ever say, I'd like to propose this thing?
I'm not sure.
That's what I thought before tonight. That's literally what I thought before tonight until Catherine said, no, it's too soon to vote on those. So like every time the subject comes up, it's like a tax rate thing. It's very hard to follow.
Is there something you're thinking about doing, that you're thinking about doing, Wayne? Proposing?
I hesitate to bring this up first. Anyway, I have talked to the DEI meeting about this. There was something called apartheid-free community.
Yeah.
And I went around and I looked at the library and I saw 2 signatures on it. And I had sent a note to Wendy and just said, we talked about complex international issues and we don't need to release into the to be divisive. So I was just wondering, is this something that on the 20th can somebody come in and say, I want?
We're hoping to focus the 20th on the budget as much as we can.
We're hoping, but
Yes.
And what I can say, I think, if this is wrong, someone cut me off. That you sound like you do not want that to come up and be decided at town meeting event.
well, I just wanted to make a comment, you know, Burlington said we don't want this on our ballot
Yeah.
last week, and many other towns, did, but a few times passed it, but, I'm just wondering if there's a point where somebody would propose it, is there a point where there would be a public give and take on it? And where would that be?
We've done that clarity on that before, so we get
Doesn't-
Tuesday.
Doesn't it come back to if they have 10%? No? Okay,
Yeah, no one's proposed anything.
as a valid item,
Yeah, they just don't have to accept it.
but the,
Best case.
but if they have 10%, they're good. If they have 5%, it's the select board's.
No.
That's
No.
all, all that
That's-
stuff is unrelated to town meeting event.
Unrelated to town meeting.
Yes,
Mhm.
that's on.
But there's already a process in place for a valid item.
on
Not
a
for
ra-
that.
On a random Thursday, someone walks in here with a petition that's been signed by 10% of the voters, then we can.
But it's too
The
late.
deadline for
It's also too early.
the
It's
warning, the
confusing.
deadline to put anything, articles on the town meeting warning was tonight at 5 o'clock. There are nobody turned in anything, so there is nothing to be forced to put on town meeting. Well, the issue will
The issue, like
be,
you just said that, Catherine said that it's also like if we had decided to do that conservation thing, that she said it was too early to vote.
Well,
no, you guys can decide to put something on the town meeting
Yes.
warning. You can decide that. You do not need any other thing.
So when Catherine said it was too early, she meant.
She
it's
meant
before
the
deadline.
deadline
Okay.
of like the town meeting warning on VLCT. They've got like 20 days before such and such, you need to do the town warning. That's what she means.
Uh-huh.
But you guys
absolutely.
could
Next year-
totally,
Next year, I'm gonna make a commitment publicly right now. I'm gonna, maybe with the help of Peter Sloshy, I'm gonna be an expert on this stuff. I am gonna.
good luck.
This is what I wrote myself this morning, TMRI, logic, steps, calendar, reasoning, history.
Mhm.
I need to,
Mhm.
we need to all have that.
Yeah, and I've asked the question so many times.
Yeah, we're not gonna have.
I've asked Jessica,
We're not
like,
gonna-
I have to ask Jessica all the time, like, the VLCT calendar is not, it's not informative, so I have to ask her, like, can you just give me the final day as to what I need?
Yeah.
And that's
Okay,
I need to answer your.
so it's very complicated. I don't, that at that meeting, I don't know what people are, I don't wanna discourage people from going,
Mhm.
right? So like, that's why I don't know.
So that's kind of the last chance, right?
I mean, the
Yeah.
idea was for people who had, could discuss, item, the budget as well as, I'm not sure where they were about other items, but it depends on if there's time.
Yeah.
It's not, because your main process is the.
Budget.
The budget is the most, is the most impactful. I'm not saying these other things aren't impactful, they are, but there's only so much time in a
Mm,
meeting.
Well, I noticed there was one sign up sheet with two signatures.
Yeah, yeah,
One was
okay.
crossed out, so.
They didn't propose, so like,
Okay.
there was, I heard rumors of them trying to be on the budget tonight, or on the meeting tonight, but they weren't.
Okay.
Do we have space?
All right, well,
in
I just want to say.
Do we have space in TMI for public
No,
other?
there's two warnings.
That answers the question.
We
We
did,
don't have other business?
we have, there's two things, the budget and then the fire department.
Yep.
That's clear.
All we proposed
Yeah. Last year was just the
No, I remember
budget,
last meeting.
Yeah,
What?
just the budget, yep.
That's clear. to
and it took plenty of time. The budget,
Okay.
I mean, it's hard to do in 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
you, Brandon?
He's gonna.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. basic team, and we're lucky to have them.
Thank you. Be careful going home. The roads might be bad.
Jake's gone twice already.
I
That's 15.
I know.
Yeah, right.
That's true, that's true.
Although they
Okay.
drove by.
They probably have. to go.
Derek drove by me out there.
Okay, regular select board updates.
I have just a couple. I'll go real quick. Catherine, we are going to apply for that UPWP grant for the Jericho Bike Pedestrian Master Plan.
Oh, good.
So that we are working on. And I believe that's it. That's all I have. Oh, and the other thing is just discussing, so you guys will want to sign the town meeting warning. I will double check the dates, but I'm pretty sure we're safe at town meeting reimagined if we can. If not, can we do it? Can you guys do it on Thursday, the 22nd during the day?
Yeah.
It'd be real quick just to approve the warning and.
To meet or to?
Yeah, that seems like a more correct time rather than the 20th, because it often runs early February,
Mhm.
the time frame to sign the warning.
Mhm.
We
Yeah.
can sign it separately, or we have to all be in the.
We have a meeting or we just sign it?
Nope, I think we have to have a meeting, but we could do it Zoom and then you could come in and sign.
I really wanted to do it on the 20th. I thought that
I
was
think
the
we
point.
can't, I think,
I would have to
Laura-
check the
Laura
date,
showed me
but
a VLCT
Yeah,
sign.
you really
oh,
have
you
to
did?
because I
It
think
said-
that's an early date.
It said the
It's-
first date to sign it is January 2nd, and you have to warn it by February.
Okay, right, exactly. Yep, yep.
You have to warn it by when?
February 5th, I think it was.
It'll be.
What was
warned
this? What was the
before
start date?
22nd.
I thought it,
Yeah.
I thought the 20th was too early because it's typically around the 22, 23 time frame.
that. It'll be quick.
So we have a
So
Zoom
those
meeting and then.
Yeah, I can do a Zoom meeting on Thursday.
JCD's.
This is actually just during the day.
Oh, okay.
If it's during the day, if you guys can do it.
Why do we need to do it if it's not due till the 5th?
I have to put it in the town report.
It's printing issues.
Yeah,
Not
printing,
legal issues.
And then
printing.
when do you need us to come sign the
like soon after. I can put it up for
Same day.
that weekend if you guys can come in that weekend and sign it.
Probably can't meet.
I feel like I made a commitment on the 22nd. I don't remember what it was now.
JCD's to that night.
I'm not going.
I'm not sure if I can make it. Maybe.
Oh, yeah, that. That's probably if I had any of this.
This makes me so happy. You just have a photo of your phone.
The whole. This month, my wife.
She does this
Yeah,
giant.
that's
whiteboard.
our whole calendar.
You know on your phone.
Yeah, and
What's
I'm
that?
aware. My wife refuses to sign for
Mine too.
You, Peter, you won't be able to make it?
But I can come in and sign.
Okay,
I have a very tight timeline. I could Zoom anytime between 2 and 3:30. That's my only time on.
okay, let's do 2 on Thursday, the 22nd. If that works for everybody, just zoom in to just approve that warning. And
Let me go check the calendar. I'm scheduled for all kinds of stupid hand exercises.
Okay,
At the
Yeah,
moment,
and-
22nd looks good.
okay. Thursday, the 22nd at 2 p.m. I'll set up a Zoom and then I'll put the warning in the bin outside the office and you guys can come in and sign it that weekend. Okay,
Send me the invite, even though I.
yep, I will. Okay, that's all I have.
But I still think that there's power and meaning when we approve the budget that night, so we can still do that
Right,
part,
we
right?
didn't sign last year. I just said very loudly, I would like to make a motion to approve the budget in the amount as amended to the amount of blah, blah, blah. And then Catherine said all those in favor and we voted and people were like
And so
that.
maybe we could do that
I think
because it
this-
was later.
Yeah,
than- it was-
Yes.
It was last
Right.
year's MRI was later than the minimum date or something.
Right.
No,
Right.
No, we're just making a motion to pass that budget.
Yep.
And then
But
the
last
warning
year, I
is
think it
later.
was the thing, but.
No, the same thing. I don't know. We definitely didn't sign it at the meeting. I know that.
Right, we
Okay.
didn't. So
Okay.
I like that idea. Like, I mean, you can approve the budget at TMRI because that's what you're gonna do.
Yep.
Okay,
That's not the warning.
that's all I have.
We had a very successful opening for the MMU students. A lot of people came, looked. We also had music by the Leaky Faucets, which is a high school group that have been together for a while with some nice jazz. Bob Stone's son is part of it, so that was fun to talk to him there. So it was really nice, and for people who could not make that, the students' art will be up through the end of February.
Cool. Yeah, I like it.
Next.
I just have two things for you so we don't forget. We never revisited after we redid the permitting fees.
Yes, I have Chris Flynn who contributed to that, so
Great.
I have that.
Okay. If
Yeah.
you need to sit down again with Chris and just walk through that again.
Yep.
Happy to do that.
Okay.
Let me know. And the second one, I do not have an email on the capital.
Okay,
So
I will resend that.
We set up time
Yep.
for, what did we say?
Capital, I think we said late March, early April, what I said in the email.
That's Sophie.
Huh?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I just thought you were talking to me. But that's it.
Okay, yep.
I have one, I had suggested earlier that we put something in front porch forum to explain briefly why we're so. I'm happy to draft it in my. It would be short and sweet, but.
Yeah.
It's hard to hear Laura.
We're doing this first.
And if you link to the town plan and all that, yeah.
Because I think people are really wondering.
I think they're.
Susan Brazil, you still here?
I don't
I-
see. I don't see her.
She's not.
No.
I have her, like I said, she did send me something. So sometimes the people that are on the subcommittee of the wastewater task force on communication will send me a post and I post it, usually without much editing. This one I looked at and I might post it as is, but I didn't feel comfortable because it was pulling in more things than just wastewater. And I feel like you guys have charged us with wastewater and I don't feel bad about posting there without permission, but it also might be fine. I just need to find it and read it.
So that was the question, because it was hard to hear.
The why Riverside is broader than wastewater.
So-
It's the sidewalk, it's the zoning.
So Catherine, there's an email already drafted. So we're just gonna review that and see if that's.
I don't know that it touches on exactly what she's
Okay.
getting at, but I just want to look at it. I just
Well, I
need
think
to find it.
keep looking at it, but what we talked about, what the wastewater outreach people talked about is that we would like to expand, to move the conversation beyond toilets. That the point of this is not to make everyone's toilet work. The point of this is to enable what is essentially an empty lot to become housing. And that's the reasoning that's one of the primary reasons behind this whole wastewater thing. And we feel like it's getting lost in. It's just a ton of money being spent, and what's the point anyways, my toilet already works.
Oh.
And talking about opening the conversation up to like, we have this piece of property, we need to be developed, we need more housing, we need more economic development here in town, we develop that are all in the town plan. And that's why Riverside, because there's no place to put anything in Jericho corners. There's not like, this is a place, this is a village center, blah, 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 blah. So I'm guessing that the email that Susan wrote had just kind of teasing into that, I guess.
Yeah, I'll just read what she proposed and.
No.
The select board has hired Du Bois and King to study whether a community wastewater system could serve Riverside Village. Community wastewater can make it easier and less expensive to build and renovate homes in village areas. The town received grants and a loan to fund Riverside wastewater study. More information is available on the town's website. including a project overview, FAQs, scroll down to read the latest update, which is the 60% draft. This is the part that I thought, the whole board should weigh in on. The Select Board, Planning Commission, Housing Committee, and many residents, builders, and property owners agree. Jericho needs more housing, especially starter homes and homes for seniors, such as condos, townhouses, and small apartments. The Select Board recently adopted zoning changes to reduce barriers to building and designing in designated village growth areas. Investments in infrastructure, including roads and community wastewater, can support more housing in compact, walkable village neighborhoods while helping protect watershed, the rural landscape, and natural resources. And she did say, updated as we go. She wasn't telling you to please write this, but I don't know.
Your question, the sentence, like XYZ people agree we need more housing.
The last paragraph felt beyond just the wastewater thing. I love it. I think it's hitting on the right things. But we typically have stayed out of the front porch forum arguments. And I think it's time to revisit that. And I didn't feel comfortable doing it on behalf of the select board without weighing, and I'm fine with, if you want to have this be a separate thing and then your thing is fine, I'm open to whatever.
This letter was a suggestion from Susan to put in.
From the wastewater.
From the wastewater.
From the wastewater outreach task force, because we've decided as a committee that we're gonna keep updating front porch forum, we're kind of just keep it available that it's happening and being aware of what's going on, where things stand. And we decided that Eric, as the chair of that committee, would be the person who posted on front porch forum. So the outreach committee, which is Christian, Heaney, myself, Susan, and Kate McCarthy, we put together like 3 or 4 front porch forum posts, a plan of like, here. And then Susan has been writing them and then sending to Eric, and Eric's been posting. So that email, that post wouldn't be in response to the couple of recent things today. Although it addresses them.
It touches on, it does, yeah.
I think it's helpful to separate the wastewater from the Wye Riverside. No?
Except that we're really, and this is just the outreach committee talking, we haven't having a full wastewater task force group, but we're really feeling like we need to make it really clear that the wastewater isn't the purpose, that the wastewater is a means to an end.
As long as you don't have wastewater in the subject line.
Oh, I will.
I'm not.
Oh, no, I absolutely will. This is.
I'm speaking as a citizen.
Yep.
No, it's not.
Yeah, no, wastewater, I mean, that,
If it says this post is about wastewater, I'm done.
okay, then. That's probably how I'll probably do it as wastewater, so maybe we need another one. That along the lines of what you're saying.
But I like that language.
You can find it.
I would post that as is, so.
Okay, that's fine, that's fine.
Because I wanted
like I
to-
said, it just felt like a little broader and I wanted
Yep.
buy-in from all of you.
Yep.
Let's start with that. The task force.
What's from the wastewater task committee, that task force?
Not in here.
It's kind of like the cadence we've been doing.
Okay.
Post title is wastewater study, summary of draft, ready for review.
Oh.
She did say I should edit it as I see fit.
Wait, what if you titled it, this is like my voice, not yours, but like, what's up with wastewater and why is everything happening in Riverside?
Yes.
What if
Oh, I
that's
like that.
Sure.
I'll make a motion.
We don't need that. Okay,
That's
so
not
you
the
like it as
title.
is, change the title to, hey, what's up, girl?
WHACC?
Was it?
What's up with wastewater and what's going on with Wye River?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna write that down so I don't forget. The subject is,
What's up with wastewater? And why Riverside? And why in Riverside?
can I end it with bro?
No.
BRUH.
Absolutely not.
That's a full sentence now if you're a teenager.
I had a-
You could just respond with bro.
Bruh.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
But but you can, it means something.
Yeah,
It means like, dude,
Yeah.
shut up, you're an idiot, pay attention, everyone knows this.
You're not supposed to do it as an adult.
I
but
do it
yeah,
all the time,
Yeah,
my kids.
I do too.
Yeah, bruh.
Okay,
All
right.
All
I
right.
have an app on my phone that I press in and go, bruh. Bruh.
One of my friend's daughters, she used her phone, bro. I love that. I thought it was amazing. Okay, select board updates done. Anyone else have any more that we missed?
Nope. On to the
What about
minutes.
minutes?
Minutes, we do got
I didn't know
minutes.
if we had-
One typo. Which is on line 310.
310. D10. Okay,
The second half of the line, if the interest is $4,000.
Yeah.
okay,
That's all I got. And again,
Yep.
Donna, impressive work.
all
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Someone
Yep.
want to approve them?
I'd like to make a motion, I will make a motion to approve the minutes of January 8th, as amended.
I'll second that.
Motion was seconded by Catherine. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of real estate, the information will be detrimental for the parties involved, and I think that's all whole students.
Bill, could you do me a favor and give
Night, everyone. Catherine, don't hang up.
I won't.